Hey guys, welcome back. It is May 19th, and first of all, I want to address an issue. To those of you who caught me wearing sandals in the garage in the last video, yeah, I was. I own that. And once again, I don't recommend anybody do things how I do it. Many times I get lucky. A lot of you saw the video of me putting a screwdriver nearly all the way through my hand.
It happens.
So once again, safety tip, wear proper footwear, wear proper protective equipment, eyewear, long sleeves. If you have long hair, tie it back if you're using spinning tools. But I had to chuckle because I knew right away somebody was going to notice that. So no harm, no foul. Nobody got hurt, and you know, it is what it is. Don't do what I do, or at least I don't recommend it. So anyways, moving on. We're going to work on the Super M again tonight for Connor. I'm going to wire wheel the mating surfaces of the head real quick. The top of the block is already clean and immaculate, so I don't have to worry about that. But we're going to try and get the head put on, get that torqued down, maybe get the rocker arms on, and set the valve lash. And depending on how it goes, maybe the water pump and stuff, but I'm not going to really focus too much on that because that won't take hardly any time at all to put on. You know, I could do it tomorrow night or whatever, but basically I want to get the engine closed up. So focus on getting the head on tonight and get that torqued down, maybe the rocker arms. I'm not real sure on that, but let's get started. Okay guys, well, we got the head cleaned up above, and we got the head gasket on, sprayed with copper coat. So I'm just going to slowly lower it down until we make contact. And then also, real quick, on the head gasket, there's a rolled edge on one side. If these aren't marked for which goes up, which goes down, it's my experience that most of them are marked, but this one happens not to be. There's a rolled edge. I don't know if you can see it there around the cylinder opening. That goes up. So let's go ahead and lower it down a little bit more. There we go. Nothing to it. So now, I think that's the last time we have to use my engine hoist, thankfully. So I'll get all the nuts on here and then we'll start torquing it down. Okay, we got the head all torqued down. What I'm going to do, actually, before I put the push rods in, I started in 3 stages, and I always start in the center and work my way out. I started with 60 foot-pounds on everything, got those torqued. Then I went up to 90, did the whole sequence again, and then the final torque I did 110, which is where it's supposed to be. So should be all good to go. Again, we've got a good liberal amount of copper coat on the head gasket on both sides. So now we just drop our push rods in. There we go. So let's grab our rocker arm assembly. We can drop that oil line down in there. Just kind of work your way around. Make sure all your tappets are aligned. And just tighten your bolts real quick. And I believe these are probably about 20 foot-pounds or so. And the phone's ringing, so I'll be right back. Okay, well, it's about a week later, and I'm not even sure where I left off in this video, but I did a little bit of stuff off camera. I got the water pump mounted up, the thermostat housing in the upper radiator pipe. One point of interest on these, this collar that adjusts the belt tension, I always grease up the threads on this, because this has a set screw in it anyways that aligns with, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a notch right underneath my finger there. It's got a set screw that aligns with that notch, which is here. So always grease these threads well, because these hubs and these collars are known for rusting together. So if you do a little preventative maintenance, grease those threads up, it can go a long way. But I also just put some quick paint on here. I left the oil filter housing off, installed the elbow for the oil gauge pressure line, so that's a lot easier to do without the frame rails and stuff in place. But basically what I've been working on the last half an hour or so after working at my primary job and at Rudy's is I'm trying to devise a way to pick up the front end from the rear section of the frame rail. So basically what I want to do is I want to take it from this position and tilt it so it's level, so that I can guide it back into the tractor, because if I pick it up from the front, then the rear end tends to dip down, and there's no way I'm going to get everything aligned doing it that way. So I kind of made my own load leveler, if you will. I just took a piece of 2x2 angle, installed a small clevis on it, and then I bolted the chain on the front side of it. So hopefully, you know, everything I've got set up here is strong enough to hold it, but we'll find out when we start picking it up, which I think I'm going to do right now, because I really don't have anything else to try. So I'm going to stick you guys right on top here. Hopefully you can see. We'll see what happens. Now, this is just something I thought of in my head today, so hopefully it works. But the biggest thing is I have to have room, so I might have to adjust where I have these chains, because I'm already running into issues with the tie rods. But on the front end of this wide front, whoa, and that is not what I wanted to happen. You guys saw how it tilted to one side. So how can I keep this from tilting like that? Well, if it tilts, it tilts. I can always And I don't really care if we scratch the paint on this because it's just spray paint. And I just want to get this thing together. Biggest thing is I got to watch out for, well, I got 2 hoses to get aligned. I have to get the fan in the shroud. So man, this is not fun. Well, just gonna have to do the best I can, I guess. Trying to do this because it's supposed to be 92 degrees on Monday, and I don't really want to be out here when it's 90 degrees.
Oh no.
And 80 something tomorrow, high 80s again on Sunday. But, whoops, sorry. Let me see if I can wiggle this thing around and we'll see if I can get it in place. I will never, ever do that again. I've literally been messing around with this for over 2 hours, just trying to get this thing in place. I will never, ever, ever separate the frame from the engine and roll just the front frame away without dismantling the frame rails. That's just, it is insane how difficult it is to get everything in place, lined up, especially by yourself. There's no way I'm ever doing that again. So, that being said, we've got the frame rails in place, front end is on. I still have to tighten the hose clamps on the lower and upper radiator hoses, but it's all in place, so can't argue with that.
All right. I knew you'd come around.
That's it. I'm done for the night. I'm done. I am not happy right now. So, especially after working both jobs. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. So, anyway, on to the next part. Hey guys, it's several days later. As you can see, I made some progress today. I didn't do any filming of this part. It's basically just bolting stuff back on. But I got some stuff going on the outside of YouTube, outside of work, that is really stressful, and it's heavy on my shoulders, and I just needed to get out here and just work. And I'm sure you guys can understand where I'm coming from. There's a few people that know kind of what's going on, but I just needed to get some work done. But we're gonna go through. I'll show you what I got done today, and then show you what we got left. So first things first, I set the valves at 0.018. It calls for 0.017 hot, so 0.018 might be just a tad tight, but you know, that's what I went with. So, you know, we're going to have to retorque the head and do, you know, reset the valves and everything after we get it good and warm anyhow. So 0.018 is going to be good for a good cold start to see where it starts or where we end up at. I installed, so I adjusted the valves, put the valve cover on, I installed the throttle linkage assembly, I installed the radiator support, which is this rod here that goes up to the steering support. I installed the gauge cluster here, the oil line, which runs down to the other side. Temp gauge is just a probe that goes into the side of the cylinder head. Installed the air cleaner. We installed the belly pump and the fittings on this side. Move over to the other side here. Got the fitting and actuating lever on this side. We put the distributor in, and actually I probably should have filmed that, because what I did was I made a stud that goes from the distributor drive through the live hydraulic pump. I don't know if that's how it was from the factory, but it is almost impossible to get a bolt and a heavy washer in from this side, because, I mean, you guys can see my finger barely fits in here. That's my pinky finger. So to get a bolt with a heavy washer in and thread it through into the distributor mount, it's almost impossible. I mean, I couldn't figure it out. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a stud that threads into the distributor mount. I put a nut on the back side, and then it slid through. I put the heavy washer on, a lock washer, and then a nut, and I tightened down this side, and once this side was tight, I snugged up the nut on the back side here. So that shouldn't go anywhere. Like I said, installed the temperature probe for the thermostat, put the alternator back on, reconnected the wires there. Now this alternator, I'm sure it works, but it could use some revamping on how it's all mounted. The belt isn't exactly straight when it's running on the pulleys. You know, it's not running straight and true, but I'm going to leave that up to Connor, because quite frankly, I don't have the time to dedicate to rewiring this thing and messing with the mount on the the alternator. I just don't have time. So my goal is to I got to get it back together, get it running, and go from there. So we installed I think this is an oil pressure sensor or something. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but regardless, I got that back in. Oh, and that reminds me, on this side, the drain cock for the coolant in the engine block is back in. This stud here I had to clean up because the nut was seized on the stud. So, and this is also missing a heavy washer. So I'm going to have to, I'll probably just double up 2 washers on there, but it's not, it's MIA for sure. So let's see, what else did we do? Got the belly pump in, distributor on, wiring done, and the way I set the distributor up, now I've never messed with a distributor. So what I did is I've got number 1 on top dead center. I installed the distributor, and then I rotated the distributor so that the contact on the rotor lines up in the smack dab center of the contact in the number 1 side of the cap. So that's the way I've got it set up. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but given my, you know, the reason I say that is because I don't know, you know, how far I should be forward or backwards with advance. So I'm just going to set it so it's just like a magneto. It'll fire right at top dead center, right in the middle of the terminal on number 1, and it should start and run. So let's see, I've got the breather line from the back of the head to the air cleaner installed. So it comes in here and goes into the air cleaner over here. Got that installed. Let's see, I think that's just about it. So last few things we got to do, we got to put the oil filter on, oil filter housing. We've got to put the steering shaft in. Then we can put the grill on. We have to put the manifold and carburetor on, and the connection that goes from the air cleaner to the carburetor. And that's pretty much all right here. Got your air cleaner tube, manifold, oil filter housing, new oil filter. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know where this goes. So that's not good probably, because I'm sure it goes to somewhere. I don't know if it goes on to, you know, this oil pressure unit or what, where that goes. I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm not sure where that goes. And then we have to deal with this heavy sucker. We have to take the hydraulic remote unit out of the reservoir and clean it out, make sure there's no metal shavings in there because that hydraulic pump was really, really bad. So once we get that done, that can go back in the tractor. We have to get new O-rings for the, I guess it would be the distribution block, I'll call it, that bolts to the bottom of the live hydraulic pump. So get new O-rings for that and do some clutch adjustment. And that's pretty much it. We're pretty much ready for a first fire after that. So not much left, just a few bolt-on items, clean out the hydraulic system for the live hydraulics, and adjust the clutch. So getting closer, but that's where I'm at. So sorry I didn't do too much filming, but I needed to get out here and just work and clear my head, and it is what it is. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully I'll do some more filming of the actual wrenching process in the next video. You know, it's just, I got a lot going on, guys, and I just needed some time. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Thanks for kind of wrenching with me, and you guys stay tuned. It's going to be a good fire up, I think. I think it'll start and run well, so hopefully. Squatch, pray for me. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, it took a little while to get her warmed up. She sure is a stubborn one. Then pow, all at once.